This is
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. We can see you. So welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025 Day 1. So welcome on stage, Loretta. So let me introduce you to the audience. So Loretta's topic is here. Being bold while balancing business and family, a powerhouse in the retail and business sector. She brings decades of executive leadership experience to the forefront. As a consultant and board director, she navigates the intricate balance between bold career moves and family life. Her strategic acumen and customer-first approach drive business growth, while her personal journey inspires others to lead fearlessly, fostering both professional success and personal fulfillment. So that was a great title and talk by Loretta. So welcome on stage. So the stage is all yours. Good luck.
Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. It's not allowing me to share my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
You can?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. You're on mute. Could you please unmute and talk? You're on mute. Please unmute.
I'm not muted.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Yes.
I wonder if it said I'm going.
You're on mute. You're on mute. It's like when you leave your browser, you're going on mute.
Yeah, I'm not on mute, but as soon as I share my screen, it goes to mute.
Now we can able to see your screen and don't do any changes. So now we can hear you. You're on mute. We cannot hear your voice.
Okay, hold on a second. Sorry. Okay. Imagine being an executive for a Fortune 500 company, traveling the world mostly on a private plane, sitting front row at fashion weeks in New York, London, and Paris, hanging out with Justin Timberlake, only to be unceremoniously fired with a stay-at-home husband and 3 kids under the age of 8. To say I was shocked was an understatement. But the shock of sudden change was the beginning of a chapter I never expected. And today I want to walk you through how that crisis became the catalyst for something that was unimaginable and better than anything I expected, because I tapped in to the resilience and grit that was within me. So here's where we're headed today. I'm going to talk to you about the breaking point, the transformation, the unexpected gift, and give you a call to action. So how that really went down, I had spent 25 years working for Nordstrom, what many would consider the world's best department store. It was everything I had ever known, and I had worked my way up to one of the biggest jobs in the company, if not the biggest job, whose name was not Nordstrom. I had turned around a $1.5 billion division. I grew it to $2 billion, and I increased the gross margin profitability by $90 million over the course of 7 years. But like any public company, you've got Wall Street analysts, you've got a share price, a stock price, and you've got a board of directors. So despite all of the progress I made, the transformation that occurred under my leadership, the board expected more. They wanted more progress. They wanted to beat our competitors, and they really wanted change. And so during a Christmas holiday, while I was enjoying the time with my family and my 3 young children, there was many conversations that ensued, and they told Pete Nordstrom, who I worked for, they needed change. And it was either he or I. And so with his name on the door, the logical conclusion was that it was time for me to go. I returned from that vacation, driving across the bridge on my way into the office, and I get a text message at 8 a.m. on my first day back. You know you don't want that message. That wasn't a welcome back from vacation. That was, hey, Loretta, would you like to swing by my office when you get in today? I parked my car, I dropped my bag, I walked over to his office, and I knew something was different. The blinds were closed. There was white papers turned over face down on the little table inside the door. And when I walked in, he closed the door behind me. The conversation did not last but 3 to 5 minutes. And it went a little bit like this. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. The board and I have been discussing how the business has been and the need for change. And while we respect and commend everything you've done, it's time for me to make that change and take you out of your job. And when I say I was shocked, I was angry, I initially wanted to defend myself, I was all of that. I still actually get chills running down my arms as I recall that moment. And in that moment, which literally lasted no more than 5 minutes, everything I had known, everything I had done in my professional career to date was gone. In 25 years, I initially fought back. I defended myself, my team, our results. And then I took a deep breath and I realized the ship has sailed. It's time to channel your grace, accept the inevitable, take those papers and move along, which is what I did. There's times in life, whether it's personal or professional, when you don't get the opportunity to make the choice. The choice is made for you. And the choice was made for me in that moment. And I could have either continued to dig in and resist, or I could tap into who I really was, channel gratitude for all I had been able to experience and learn, and the grace with which has served me so well before and since that moment, which is what I did. Fortunately, I didn't over-identify with my job. I didn't over-identify with my title, the responsibility, my role as an executive, my sitting front row at fashion weeks. Because the reality is, if you are a woman with a husband and children, you actually have three jobs. You are a wife, you are a mother, and you are an executive. And for the first time in my career, and for the first time since having my children, I could prioritize being a mom and being a wife. I'm not going to lie, those first few days, weeks, months were super awkward. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. I had been working for 10 straight years while my children were being raised largely by my husband, who was staying at home. I didn't really have a primary role making breakfast, lunch, driving carpool, doing homework, doing drop off or pickup. But I had to learn how to lean in to this new world, this new life, this awkward transition, which is what I did. Fortunately for me at that time, my phone started ringing, and it rang with people from the industry where I had struck up really strong relationships, which I'm so proud of and grateful for. And not only were they consoling me in so many words, many actually asked me if there was a way I could come in on their side and help them, take them behind the curtain, if you will, and help them navigate how to grow big businesses like we had done collaboratively when I was at Nordstrom. Additionally, I was called by some of the senior partners at Boston Consulting Group, who I used to help me in my transformation at Nordstrom. They also asked me if I could come on their side of the table. And I was hired as a contractor and a senior advisor for the retail practice and titled North American Retail Expert for Boston Consulting Group. I built my consulting business from scratch, sitting on my bedroom floor with an iPad, a phone, and my husband's incredible support. And I negotiated my first and best contract to date, sitting on a beach in Cabo. I didn't know how to negotiate a contract. I didn't even know how to draw up a contract. But what I did know is I was worth a lot. My experience, my IP, my relationships, and my ability to build business. And so I asked for a lot and I got it. And to date, from that beach, that contract is still my biggest and best. What got me through that transition, honestly, were these three pillars. Resilience. I grew up with resilience from immigrant parents, from being a competitive swimmer, from doing hard things that got me a lot of places in my life. And I really had to tap into grit and resilience. My husband, my most incredible supporter, I will go on record and say it's the most important decision you will ever make, and that is who you choose to spend your life with. And then the priorities of our children. It had always been my biggest priority, but only until now was I able to really lean in and create a business and a life that allowed me to prioritize my husband, my children, and my professional pursuits. I have traveled the world as a consultant, both for BCG and with my own business, doing everything from teaching merchandising fundamentals in China through a translator to doing consumer-centric workshops all over the world for department stores and brands. But I'd say the biggest blessing of all is in these last 13 years, going down a path I had never expected and didn't necessarily want at the time, has enabled me to build not just a business, but a life I truly love. My question for you is, what bold move can you take today? What can you do to put yourself out of your comfort zone, have that tough conversation, start something you didn't think you could do, or challenge yourself in a way you never imagined? I'd love to open it up for questions. I see a few in the chat. Are there some questions I could answer now? Hello? I'm seeing the chat. If there are any questions, feel free. Let's see, speaker chat. That was a while ago. I hope I was unmuted. I see a question. Were there any limiting beliefs that you had at this point? Hi,
Yes, hi,
Angela
Amrita.
Lopez.
Thank
Pardon?
you so much for the fantastic presentation. Yes, we do have a questions from our audience. I have chosen the best one. So here is the question. What leadership lessons from the corporate world can be applied to managing family dynamics?
What leadership lessons from the corporate world can you apply to manage family dynamics?
Yes,
I'd say the number one lesson that you can learn is that with any of the direct reports that you are going to support as a professional leader, you need to learn how to style flex. People respond differently to different styles, direction, coaching styles, and the same is even more true in a family unit with children. Your children are probably all different and they all can respond and will respond to different styles of parenting. You can be consistent with expectations and consequences, but the way in which you go about it should be a little nuanced for different personalities with your children.
thank you. Thank you so much for answering the question today. So please do join our next speaker sessions and show some love.
I
So
see another question in the chat here. Were there any limiting beliefs you had at any point? And I would say yes, tons of limiting beliefs. I was never ready for any of the jobs and promotions I was asked to take on during my 25 years at Nordstrom. Each one seemed too big at the time, too much responsibility. And so I really had to tap into confidence, conviction, and kind of a fake it till you make it mentality and learn as I went. So you're always going to have those feelings and moments of imposter syndrome. Those are normal. And I think for some that can be motivating, and for others that can be a little bit debilitating.
I hope Angela Lopez got the answer. Thank you so much, Loretta, for joining this Virtual Summit 2025 and sharing your fantastic presentation today. And yes, you have answered the questions from the participants.
I wanted to wrap up with one last slide. I hope you can see it and let you all know that my story continues. There's a lot more to be shared, to be hopefully used as a source of inspiration and mentorship. And that is that I'm writing a book, and I put a QR code on the slide there for anybody that can see it and view it. That will be the place where you can follow along, you can ask more questions, you can share insights, and then I in turn will be able to provide updates and even some of the samples of what I'm writing about. And really it's about how to balance career and family. I don't believe there is true balance, but it's how do you lean in on the seasons in your career that demand extra time and attention, and then offset those with protected time and boundaries so that you actually can flourish in both your career and your family life.
Yes. I hope you have done with your presentation today with the XIV Global Virtual Summit 2025 auditor. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for all the comments. I'm so happy to be able to share and hopefully help anyone in any way possible.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. And please do join other speaker sessions and post your questions as well. So the next
Thank you.
speaker name is Lisa. So please do join after 20 minutes. Okay. So she will join after 20 minutes. Thank you.